Have you ever been told that you're the strong one, the reliable one, the one that everybody can count on for every single thing, the one who always has it all together? Maybe you're the one that everybody else calls whenever they need help solving a problem. You always seem to have the right answers for everything. You're the caretaker, the one that anticipates everybody's needs even before they know what they need, without them even having to articulate one word. You know how to read the room. Like if you have 20/20 vision and somehow through all of this you keep pushing forward even when you are exhausted, when you're tapped out, and when you can't go anymore, you keep pushing. But what happens when being the strong one, the responsible one, the eldest daughter becomes the only way you know how to exist? I also wanted to point out that you don't have to be the eldest daughter to feel these things, right? Take myself, for example. I am the middle child of three girls. So I had an older sister, myself, and a younger sister. So I technically wasn't the oldest daughter or the eldest daughter, but my older sister couldn't fulfill the role of the eldest daughter because of her own trauma. And so that automatically passed down to me. And because I was able to hold those identities, I started to hold the traits of the eldest daughter. And if the same thing would have happened to me where I couldn't hold that responsibility for whatever reason, it would have passed down to the next one in line, which is my younger sister. And so I wanted to point that very important detail out for those of us out there who are not technically the eldest daughter, but we carry the same wound because we were the ones who had to perform as the eldest daughter in our families. Today, I want to talk about the pattern that I've seen in so many women: the responsible one, the eldest daughter, the caretaker, the one who has it together, the overachiever, the perfectionist, the people pleaser, and how constantly putting yourself last can eventually lead you to being completely disconnected from yourself. Let's get into it. I want to start off by saying that these qualities are not bad. They're not, trust me, because I have them. And I know so many women who have them as well. Being caring is beautiful. Being responsible is a strength. Being empathetic is a gift. The problem starts when these strengths start to become your survival strategies. I know for myself, I became the one who never asked for help, the one who never wanted to disappoint anyone. So I learned how to figure things out on my own because I didn't want to be a burden to anyone. I pushed through exhaustion. I learned to say yes when I really wanted to say no. I was hella uncomfortable with resting. I did not know how to rest. It felt so foreign to me. And I always felt like my worth came from all the things that I accomplished or how much I can actually do to help others. And maybe you don't even remember learning this, but somehow this became your identity. But eventually something starts to happen because your body is craving for you to pay attention to it. For many women, years of overfunctioning, of pushing through, of not resting, of being there for everyone else, of figuring things out, of solving problems, ignoring their own needs while pushing through stress, burnout, exhaustion, irritability, and living in a state of constant responsibility can start to contribute to burnout and feeling completely depleted. They start experiencing things like chronic exhaustion, just feeling overwhelmed by simple tasks, difficulty resting, feeling disconnected from themselves, and experiencing chronic stress patterns. And then the physical symptoms seem impossible to keep ignoring. The question then becomes, what if your body isn't betraying you? What if it's simply trying to get your attention? For me, I realized that I have spent so many years worrying about what everybody else needed that I lost connection to myself and what I needed. I knew how to be there for everybody else, but I didn't even know how to be there for myself. I remember like when my husband would take the kids for the day and it would just be me by myself, I would spend hours just trying to figure out what to do with all that time. I didn't know if I should go get my nails done, if I should go to the park, if I should just listen to music, if I should sleep, because I was just so uncomfortable with not having anything to do. I didn't know how to slow down and I didn't know how to rest, which led me to having 2 surgeries in under a year, and to the point where I wasn't healing from these surgeries, and the doctors were clueless as to why that was. And then everything changed when I went ahead. I had a conversation with a dear friend of mine who has fibromyalgia, because I was at a loss for words as to what was going on with my body, why I couldn't figure out what was happening. I had met with neurologists. All the tests kept coming back clean because I was having nerve pain, shooting, tingling sensations, migraines, issues with balance, just so many issues going on with my body that I needed to find answers. And so I went and I spoke to her, and she said, Julie, this is going to be hard for you to hear, but I realized this through my journey, that your issues and your health issues are not really health issues. What's happening is that there is trauma stuck in your body that has not been released. She's like, you heal your trauma, you heal your body. And I was like, what? Because I had already been on my spiritual journey, my spiritual awakening. I was doing a lot of shadow work, and I was just like, how is this happening to me now? Like, I was just like, listen, I was losing it. And I had to sit with that for a second. And mind you, I thought that I had already dealt with my trauma, but I had only scratched the surface. And I started doing a lot of research on the body and how the body works. And especially with all the women that I work with, there's this common thread of being the eldest daughter, the responsible one, the overachiever, the perfectionist, the one who can't say no, the one who can't enforce boundaries, the one who doesn't know how to rest. How these characteristics and these identity traits are what lead us to having or to experiencing burnout, chronic pain, chronic fatigue, and all these autoimmune issues. And I was like, wow, this is nuts. So that realization changed how I was approaching my healing journey. It actually pivoted everything for me. And this is how journaling became such an important part of my healing, along with some other things. But journaling was what provided me with the awakening that I needed. And I'm not talking about the kind of journaling where you journal about all the things that you're grateful for, which is good. I mean, we should always be grateful for things, right? But this goes even deeper. And also, you're not journaling about your day-to-day interactions and what happened throughout the day. Again, this goes deeper. And so I realized that I had so many pent up emotions inside of me, so much anger, so much rage, resentment. I had fears that I didn't talk about out loud. Just thoughts that I wouldn't even dare to say to people because they would judge me. I had all of this like inside since my childhood. And what I realized is that I needed to tap into these emotions of exhaustion, of anger, of just feeling overwhelmed and hurting, and just kind of being the forgotten one, right? Where nobody checks in on me, but I check in on everybody else. Because one thing about healing is that it doesn't happen when you bypass what you're feeling. In fact, that's where the magic lies, when you tap into what you're feeling and you're raw and honest about your emotions and how you really feel inside, no matter what anybody is going to say if they ever hear what your truest feelings are. Listen, because two things can exist at the same time. You can feel grateful and still be exhausted. You can love your family and still have boundaries. You can appreciate your life and all the wonderful things that are happening and still feel exhausted at the same time. And this is exactly why I created the Return to Self Journal, an unfiltered journey back to yourself. And this is not about being a better version of yourself. It's not another thing that you have to perfect. It's a space where you're able to tap in and slow down and get in touch with yourself again. Inside the journal, you're going to find 64 prompts, and I have the digital journal here because right now it's only available in digital version for you to download immediately and start working on it. The 64 prompts are there to help you work through the emotions that you've been carrying. You'll explore patterns of people pleasing and perfectionism where you've been abandoning yourself, and help you to explore your needs, your boundaries, your desires, and your truth. If you spent years being there for everybody else, this journal is an invitation for you to start coming back home to yourself. I also want to acknowledge something really important, because sometimes awareness is just the beginning, right? A journal can help you recognize your patterns, but healing the deeper wounds that created those patterns often requires deeper support. And this is the work that I do inside of my one-on-one coaching program, Return to Self. I work with women who are exhausted from living in survival mode, women who are experiencing burnout, chronic pain, chronic fatigue, or any other autoimmune issues, who are ready to heal the patterns that keep them in overfunctioning, people pleasing, perfectionism, and so much more, and allow them to reconnect with themselves so they can create a softer way of living. If anything in this video resonated with you, I want to leave you with this. You are not failing because you need rest. You are not selfish because you have needs. You do not have to earn love by proving your worth. You are allowed to be supported. You are allowed to receive, and you are allowed to return to yourself. I want to leave you with one more thing, a journal prompt from my Return to Self journal that you can start diving into today. And the journal prompt says, I say yes when I really want to say no, because. Get honest with yourself, get raw, feel into your feelings, allow them to surface, and journal through it. Now, if you feel called to explore this work, I'm going to leave the link down below for the Return to Self journal, an unfiltered journey back to yourself. And if you know that you're ready for deeper support, I'm also going to leave information down below for my one-on-one coaching program, Return to Self. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next video.